state of mind as well. So that's something that we will sort of dive into, along with something to sort of get you skating on the bright side of your morning. All of that coming up on the program. Let's get started. Stress Awareness Month. This isn't just a buzzword anymore. India's stress epidemic isn't just at work. What burnout looks beyond the boardroom. Young but plugged in and barely holding on. Tackling stress. How do we do this? How do we tackle stress not just with a doctor but outside of it? Stress management. It is the month and we've got solutions.
And after that, we are going to be celebrating World Book Day 2025. It's already taken place. And so we sent our best friends, our producer Ashaya went to the ground and she saw the books people are reading. As the theme this year is Read Your Way Anyway. Why are people still choosing books in an AI world? Ashaya spoke to those who were at Kunzum, a special place created to encourage reading, about all of this.
Also on the program, skating sisters who never miss a beat. The sport you've never seen like this clearly. The power move in freestyle skating. It's style, it's speed, it's also a lot of physics and symmetry in motion. We'll have them here on the show today to show us their power move.
And after that, a Bihar boy who's hit 6 on the first IPL ball. We're talking about none other than 14-year-old Vaibhav Suryavanshi. He's stunned on his debut, and on his first ball, it was a first 6. His IPL entry has set the stadium buzzing. We get to know what drove Vaibhav to this moment. We're going to have a chat with his coach.
All right, April is Stress Awareness Month in the UK and in India, and timing couldn't be more urgent because whether it's the shock of the terror attack or the slow, invincible exhaustion of daily life, stress has become a national epidemic. One that's no longer confined to ICUs or therapy rooms, it's sitting in our offices. Last year, we lost, remember, Anna Sebastian, a 26-year-old CA working in EY in Pune. Her mother says she died out of overwork. The government launched a probe as well. The nation has moved on, but should we have?
Right, the question stayed. How much stress is too much? And how are we dealing with stress in different areas of our lives? Whether it's the constant hum above of keeping up with the pace of the news, whether it is the daily life work stress, commute stress. Today on The Breakfast Club, we're not just talking about escape. We're talking about what endurance, resilience and recovery from these factors look like. How do you find stillness even in the storm of daily life? Joining us are two voices of clarity right here on the show.
All right, let's first go across to Dr. Mickey Mehta. He's a holistic health coach and a wellness pioneer in the country. Good morning, Mickey. So lovely to see you again on the program. We're looking at stress management, month, and there is enough to keep people stressed out these days. I want to start by asking you, stress, as we know, cannot be wished away. It has to be managed. It has to be handled. So what is your ABC on how to manage stress in everyday life?
My definition of stress is absence of creative imagination. Because if you're not creatively imagining the solutions, certainly stress will weigh you down. And when you are stressed and you stop thinking, because stress constricts your mind, fogs your mind, and blocks the vision. So that is the time you need to stop, pause, and a few breaths in and out slowly, and just still down. So, the West calls it mindfulness. Well, the East calls it mindlessness. Because stress comes with mindfulness. Because your mind is filled with clutter. You're thinking about too many things. You're pulled in every direction. 5 horses, 5 senses pull you in 5 different directions. And then their sub-directions pull you further in different directions. So stilling is very important. So Zen says, and even Advaita Shunya philosophy says, that empty the mind and mind emptiness. It is the emptiness which is calming, cooling, relaxing, where you see solutions. It's not where you seek solutions. It's where you see solutions. So dhyana is the methodology or the science of absoluteness, because there you see everything in a complete perspective where nothing is broken, nothing is hurt, everything is whole. And in that wholesomeness, you see the moment of stress as a passing wave, because life is seldom a lake. It's always a motion.
Correct.
And this motion is on the ocean because you're surfing. Life is an ocean. Now meditation teaches you how to surf. That's one. So therapies are very, very important. To begin with, the most fundamental therapy for stress would be breathing. Because when you are stressed, your breathing goes out of rhythm. When your breathing goes out of rhythm, your thinking becomes irrational. Anger comes when your breathing goes out of rhythm. Hurt comes when your breathing goes out of rhythm. Pain comes, suffering comes. And Buddha says, the biggest suffering is in the perception of separation. When you feel you are separated from this universe, you're not one with it, you're not one with it all, the biggest suffering comes because you feel everything is the other, inflicted by the other. Whereas in Advaitam philosophy, everything is one, the absolute, Kevalya. When you get Kendrit, which is centered, then you see everything as very transient. That, okay, this is now, it will not be then. This too shall pass.
Just like the waves.
So breath is the first to go to therapy. Second therapy, I would say, related to the breath, fragrances. So when we do therapies, we work with some psychiatrists, doctors, and when we do therapies, smelling of flowers is what we do. Smelling of lemon rind, orange rind, mint leaves, kothmir, coriander leaves. So whenever you smell anything natural, the elements trigger energy and that triggers enthusiasm. So the stress markers come down gradually. I say that we must visit the psychiatrist and threadbare talk about it and get treated. But alongside treatments, I always believe therapies work. So there are a couple of few psychiatrists who I know, who I've worked with also and some with also, like Dr. Yusuf Machiswala. 40 years plus in the industry and fantastic counseling, fantastic.
Yeah. Vicky, from what I'm hearing from you, you're saying it's not just about centering yourself, it's also activating the 5 senses. It's having a deeper connection and a root and a magnet sort of to go back to charge your batteries and not get sort of taken away from the world. That is your key to actually managing stress. That's very sound advice. I'm sure Toya had a question.
Yeah, Dr. Mickey, a little bit of a naughty question, but you always come here, you're always giving the wisest advice. And so I want to ask you, what gets under your skin? Walk us through. I'm only asking because you come and you're always so calm, and even the manner in which you talk is calming. Yeah, but
Vicky,
I do want to
rattles
understand,
you?
when was the last time you got stressed? What are the things that are still getting under your skin? And at this age, when you are already aware of these different methods, which are the ones that are still effective with you?
Yesterday my daughter got me stressed out a lot. So there are always these people who are capable of pushing the button. People at home, your wives, your daughters. I mean, rest of the world
Husbands also. How mean, Mickey?
Also. Rest of the world is not capable. These are the people who try you the most, and all your tormentors are your real mentors. That is the time you realize, oh my God, I'm also weak in my knees. So I should be correcting myself. But nevertheless, the ability to recover is more important because we are human beings.
Yeah.
We are human beings made in flesh and blood. All it takes, human being born to make mistakes. So otherwise you would be gods, right? Anyway, so I do get stressed out at times, but I recover very fast because stress is a lack of creative imagination, and I imagine creatively and I have solutions immediately. And I know every moment is transient because anybody who understands that no moment stands still, everything is seamlessly going on. And since change is constant, if you are in charge, you can become the choreographer of your own change. You know?
All right, Mickey, we have time for one more question. I do want to ask you, a lot of people, have transient stress or second-hand stress, as it is called. It might not be triggered by something that's happening in their life. It could be something that they have seen or impacts other people that sort of loads on to them. In moments like these, for people who are on the spectrum of stress, but not to the degree that they have to see a doctor, for them, are there some day-to-day activities that they can do? I remember the 10-10-10 rule that you and I discussed last time around, that for 10 minutes, look at something which is 10 sort of meters away, and for 10 seconds without. So is there something else that you have as an everyday practice for people?
Yes, break away. Break away from the moment and break away from the circumstance. So what do we do with our patients? That we make them move. So movement therapy is very good, and we call it optimal movement therapy. So circulating your arms forward, backward in place, twisting left to right, right to left, and doing forward, backward bending literally has given us fantastic results. One more thing that has given us great results is a spoon of honey, a piece of jaggery, a quick piece of mishri literally uplifts your mood. So movement, breath, and some sweet taste, natural as possible. If not, chocolates will do. And most importantly, fragrance. We've also worked with people in the office when they call us that I'm completely stressed out. My boss just yelled at me and I don't know what to do. I'm shivering. We've told them, go to the loo, open up the tap and splash your eyes 30 times and focus on the water hitting your eyes and your forehead. Trust me, the results we've got are phenomenal. Lastly, we've also told people, just get out and walk out. Go out in the open, let air hit you, let sky touch you, let the sun strobes touch you, and look at some greens. And that's the point the transformation happens, because elements trigger endocrine, endocrine triggers energy, energy brings enthusiasm.
That's beautiful.
And give yourself over to your physical senses.
Correct.
I think is essentially what you're saying. It's beautiful, very effective. Dr. Mickey, we're going to ask you to stay with us. We're just going to go over to someone else too who's joining us right now. Shreyasi is a spiritual teacher. He's a former CEO who left it all behind to teach stillness in chaos. And he joins us this morning also to share his wisdom. Shreyasi, thank you so much for joining us. You've joined us before.
Namaste, good morning.
Namaste, and you've talked about
morning.
your journey. Shreyasi, just tell us first a little bit about your experience when you are teaching people in corporate spaces. There are some who believe that stress is a perennial concept. It was there 20 years ago, it's there today. So for us to say it's more now is inaccurate. But is that what you've experienced, or when you speak to young corporates, other young people, have you seen an actual perceptible shift?
Yeah, so when I work with corporate leaders, I see the magnitude of stress has gone up because of the information overload that we all are getting from all kinds of, and the intrusion of technology into our lives. So if you have to put a number, let's say if it was 30 years ago, it's moved to 80 now. So the quantum of stress has increased, number one. Number two, people, unfortunately, this is not a subject that we talk about, or we talk about in a very flashy sense, but this is a subject which needs little more deeper understanding as to how do we deal with it. It's part of our life, it's a reality. How do we deal with it? So when I work, Toya, with corporate leaders, and one of the things I find in them, most of the corporate leaders, they're afraid to show their vulnerability. And they are overconfident not to ask for help. Now that's a doom. Unless you're able to talk about your vulnerability and about things that you're finding it difficult to deal with people, not just a therapist or a doctor, because you can't go to a therapist every day, but the onslaught of stress on you is every day. So there has to be a mechanism. So especially at the leadership level where I work personally, is I encourage leaders to talk, to have friends around with whom you can discuss and show your vulnerability. Once you do that, half of the load is already gone. So that I find really works. But it takes time for people to kind of, open up to show their vulnerability to their colleagues, to their, to their friends around, because we want to show that we are all perfect.
Right. Anishji, the other thing about stress in today's world is that the triggers are very different. What used to stress our parents versus what stresses us versus what stresses Gen Z and perhaps will stress Gen Alpha. There are very different triggers. So there is clearly no one size or one way to solving this problem. But like I said last time as well, not everybody can sort of be like you, quit their job and go to the Himalayas and get wise. For those of us who are still caught up in our karmic circles, are still in offices but want a good way to manage stress, want a good way to have a beautiful life. Do you have a different answer for me this time?
Yes, absolutely, Sonal. So one thing, first of all, be it Gen Z or whatever generation we're talking about, we need to really learn to love what we are doing. Because whatever you really love, the job, the work that you're doing, if you really love that, then you will see your endurance level of the stress that comes along with that kind of work. Your endurance is already very high because you are in love with this thing that you do, right? So that's number one. Find your purpose, why you are doing this job that you're doing. I think most of the time, Sonal, unfortunately, we're running way too fast. We're not pausing and saying, hey, why am I doing this? This particular job, this particular office, this particular business, this particular relation, this particular media consumption, why am I doing it? Because the day you are coming up with the answer to your why, you will really find out of 10 things that you are doing, only 3 is that you really love and enjoy doing. So you will start to cut down the non-essentials from your life. Maybe change your career also, who knows? It's one life. Why do you get stuck in something that you hate or that you don't enjoy? Let's be fair to ourselves. Let's do justice to ourselves. So first thing is, why? Why am I doing this? So that's number one. Number two, Sonal, I've observed in the society around, when you were a kid in the school, you probably didn't ever feel stressed, only maybe during exams. And even then, you will go to school and you will talk to your friends and everybody will say, mujhe bhi kuch nahi aata. I've also not prepared anything.
Yeah.
So we'll just see. Now that gave you a lot of confidence and boost, saying that, oh, we're all in the same game.
Yeah.
Why do I stress out? Why did that happen, Sonal? Because we had heartful connections. We had friends with whom we would share our lives with. Even when our first breakup of any relationship happened, who supported us at that time?
Friends
Not
you
our
have buckets of
psychologist.
ice creams with.
Exactly. My question to now you or our viewers is, where are those friends today?
True.
Why have we cut ourselves out from the friends? We have a lot of friends on social media, but I can't call them. They don't know what's happening in my life apart from, good pictures that I post, happy pictures that I post. Now that will not work. We are real human beings. We need real connections, not screened connections. And the formula is, the more authentic friends you can cultivate in your life, Sonal, the less stress or even physical ailments you will experience in life. There's a direct correlation. I know, I hope you all know the research that people who hang out at least, once or twice with their dear friends every week are much happy and healthy people.
Yeah.
What's happening here? And I'm not saying, they're just going out and partying. They're just having a cup of chai, discussing their life with each other. What's happening here? It's a wall. When you and I connect as authentic friends, we're not judging each other. We're there for each other. This accumulation of what we are calling stress, which gets accumulated in the system, just get released.
But Shreyasi,
So-
could we ask you one thing?
Yeah.
Part of the reason that stress is so high is because people don't have or they feel like they don't have the time to take out to meet their friends. I feel in an ideal world, everyone would want to spend more time with their friends. Everyone would want to go outside, spend more time in the sunlight, out in the grass, be physical, move their bodies. But doesn't this hit right at the crux of this issue, that we don't have time today, or it feels
No.
like we don't have time for our relationships and for our physical health? So telling people to do that maybe isn't,
Correct. Now listen to it. This, Toya, whatever is supremely important for your well-being, if you say we don't have time for that, but then you have time to go to psychiatrist, you have resources to go to a doctor or a therapist, well, if there's a need, one must do that. But I'm saying we have resources and time to do that. But we're not putting our own well-being on priority, and we think we don't have time for that. Now look at the consequences of that, Toya, of not prioritizing this. The moment stress builds up in the system, you know what happens? Your sleep goes off. Your digestion goes for a toss. You have tiredness in the body. You have aches and pains in the body. Your mood is not good. You can't have great relationship even with your partner, with your family, with your children, with your parents. That's the cost you're paying of not prioritizing going out with your friends, going out in the sun, or connecting with nature, or moving your body. That's the cost you are paying. Now, any wise person, I would say, pick your thing. Do you want to spend your resources, time, and money there once you've almost ruined your relationship and your health and your mental well-being, or you want to prioritize this, saying that no, 1 hour a day? Now, look, I work with a lot of, very high-placed leaders. They get up early in the morning, and no matter what, they have this, 90 minutes to themselves, because they know after this 90 minutes, the way they are, the way they've conducted their life, the world will take over. They are in public domains. They can't afford to mess the work, the karma they have to do in the public domain, or they can't mess their relationship in their lives by sacrificing this 90 minutes. They don't want to do it. So they want to. So this ritual of every day ritual of this 90 minute, be it body work, breath work, or hanging out with their friends. If they're not able to meet, they speak to their friends 15 minutes a day. I know people who made a chart. Every day while I'm driving back home or driving to work, I'm not going to do business call. I'm going to speak to one of my dear friend, and not asking for help. I'm asking about his life. What's happening in your life, my dear friend? I hope all's well. We're sharing, right? Prioritize this and see the magic of this. We are all social human beings there. This is the essence of life. Hum isko chhod ke, we've dropped this and running after all that is not necessary. I can do with a 50,000 phone and not a 1 lakh rupee phone. I can do with that. But I can't do with less mental state, less healthy mental state. I can't do with that. You see, we have time. I think I never buy this excuse, Toya, that we are short of time. What are you trying to achieve in life if you don't have time for eating, let's say?
Right.
So that's the essence of life.
Anija, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think not many relationships and not many connections, but few deep connections. Not many conversations, but few meaningful ones. And like they keep saying, that it takes a village to bring up a child. I think it takes a village and community to bring up healthy human beings as well. And I think that's what's really missing in our day-to-day life. But thank you so much for joining us this morning and reminding us of all of that one more time.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sonal. Thank you, Toya. Thanks to all our viewers.
See you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right, talking about time for yourselves, this one should make you think as well. April 23rd marked World Book Day, a global celebration of reading authors and the power of stories. The 2025 theme was Read Your Way. A reminder that there's no one right way to read as long as you keep turning the pages anyway.
And at a time when AI tools can write faster than humans and attention spans are shorter than ever, what is the future of reading? To find out, TBC's Ashreya visited Kumzum. It's a homegrown book cafe in Delhi, and she went there. People still show up to read. They sit down, they spend hours with a book. This is what they told her. Take a look.
world of endless scrolls, shrinking attention spans, and AI writing faster than we can think, some people are still choosing to read, not for productivity, not for clout, just for the joy of it. Welcome to Kunzum. How do you think a book is still relevant in today's day and age, and do you honestly believe, because a lot of the people believe that reading books improves your language for starters, it improves the way you look at life, the way you perceive things. What's your take on that?
For people who are just getting into reading, or for people who are not that focused with reading, who cannot focus their attention, use AI to summarize what you have just read. So say you read 2 pages or you read 1 page, click a picture, upload it on your preferred AI and ask the AI to summarize it, or ask the AI to critically analyze it. This is how you can sort of develop interest into reading. This is how you can look at the same thing with another perspective.
So you're basically saying it's not a replacement, it's an addition. It's an addition to the existing part where you read books.
Yes.
Very good.
So
Beautiful.
Books, they slow you down. They give you the privilege of being slow, of being present in the moment, and actually being connected to the pages. It's not something which can be which technology can compete, in my opinion.
1 page a day. Keep it as simple as it can get. You don't have to commit to the book. You don't have to tie yourself down. You don't have to put hours into it. This is according to me. Just read 1 page a day. Start with a page and don't give up. Read for at least 3 months. Just commit to 1 page, and gradually in time you'll see that you will get into the flow and reading would not be a chore as you think it is.
I am not the person I was 4 years ago. I have changed, and that is because of books. All this knowledge, all this perspective, and all of the things I read from books, it changed me as a person. It changed my opinion about things, and it made me humble. So this is my message for all the readers out there, to read more books, to get a lot of knowledge, and that is what will make you different from the others.
There are books for all occasions. I mean, there doesn't have to be books aren't always heavy and time consuming. And I don't know why we have to see books like that. I mean, reading's for everything. I read signages. That's fun. You can read signs on auto rickshaws. Reading's fun. Reading's for every time and all occasions.
Reading isn't just flipping a few pages and getting to know, reading some ink on the paper. It's a way of life.
Yeah.
And if you have to, develop yourself as a person, then I think books are the way.
You don't need a library or a literature degree to love books. Just a little time and maybe a spot like this. Because reading isn't dying. It's just quieter than the noise. At a time when artificial intelligence, our short attention span and the algorithm is talked about so much, here at Kunzum, people actually want to read books not because they have to, but because they actually want to. On World Book Day, this is the sign that we're giving you. Pick up a book, read one today. On behalf of CNN News 18, this is Ashreya Kannan with camera person Narendra Singh.
You see Home Minister Amit Shah on your screens, and he's interacting with some of those grieving families, and you can make out the sadness, the disappointment on some of these faces that you see on your screens of the people who the Home Minister is interacting with. So in all likelihood, these are family members of the victims of the Pahalgam terror attack, and you see some of those women, they're crying their heart out, pouring their heart out to Home Minister Amit Shah, really narrating their ordeal. Because let's not forget, while the men were singled out, they were singled out on basis of their faith, their religious practices. The women and the children stood there right next to them in horror and saw the horror unfold right in front of their eyes. And they're perhaps narrating that ordeal to the Home Minister as we keep up with these visuals coming in from Srinagar. Just a short while ago, we put out visuals of the Home Minister exiting the police control room. Before that, we had visuals of him laying the wreath on the victims in Srinagar itself. Now, the mortal remains, remember, will be flown to their hometowns where the last rites will take place. But this is Home Minister Amit Shah in person interacting with some of those grieving family members, of those who have lost their loved one to this brutal terror attack in Pahalgam. Families that were on vacation, that were holidaying, who have lost their loved ones, most of them losing out on their father, their husbands, speaking of their stories of horror that they'd witnessed in Pahalgam last afternoon. 2:30 p.m. viewers is when the terror attack was reportedly to have happened. 2:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. This lasted for about 20-25 minutes is what our reporters on the ground have been telling us. And now there are other details emerging slowly on the possible involvement of more terrorists, that there were those who were stationed at a distance with helmet-mounted cameras who wanted to shoot the entire horror unfold. Why? Propaganda. I want to go across to Arunima, who continues to stay on with us. Arunima, give us a sense of what's happening here. We're keeping up with these visuals of the Home Minister interacting with those who are grieving.
So the Home Minister has offered his condolences to the bereaved family, and now the next step that we are told is that in batches of 3, the dead bodies and the survivors will be sent to the Srinagar airport. Special flights from Delhi and Mumbai have been arranged, so the coffins will be sent to either Delhi or Mumbai, and then from there to their onward journey, because some of the victims are from Bengal, others are from Maharashtra, from Karnataka, some are from Chhattisgarh. So government is trying to make special arrangements so that the mortal remains can reach their point of origin at the earliest. And the family members, they're asking the government is that there is a bureaucratic process involved in identifying the body, in getting the post-mortem report, and perhaps also the death certificate. And only then, when all these legalities are completed, is a body usually released. But given the situation, all they are asking the government is to help them tide over this red tape as quickly as possible, so that they can go back home and grieve with their loved ones. In most cases, it was just the husband or the wife who were honeymooning, or the husband, wife and the kids, and now the kids are without a father. That's the situation in most cases. Okay, even as I'm speaking, the Bharatiya Janata Party Committee on Public Accounts of Lok Sabha, they are here. I think I just spotted Aparajita Sarangi. Let me see if I can get you a word with Aparajita ji. Aparajita ma'am, ma'am, would you want to share your condolence? Would you want to share a word of condolence?
Welcome back. Now it's time for our people of interest today. They're not just skating champions, they're specialists in speed, in coordination and control. Swarali and Shreyasi Joshi. They've built a discipline few will understand. They are India's skating sisters. And this is a discipline that very, very few can master. It started as a childhood routine, but now it's turned into national titles, global tournaments, global acclaim, and a shot at the 2025 World Games.
And we're all rooting for them. They don't just come from big budget academies or media-backed sport. Just hours and hours of hard training, smart choreography, and a mindful and that never slows down. So whether it's pulling off technical routines or sort of syncing seamlessly as sisters, which can also be very tricky, mind you, if you have one, you will know, their work on the rink has sort of got the attention worldwide, and today they are stepping off the track and into our studio. So here they are. Hello guys. Good morning.
Yeah, it is so lovely to have both of you here.
Okay, so you clearly have your blades on and stuff to do, but before we get started, we've seen enough of your videos and we actually absolutely love all of them. So why don't you start by telling us first your story? How did skating start for the two of you? We'll go with the elder one first, yeah?
Actually, our parents believed in exposure, and since we were small kids, they have been showing us various sports. So we have learned swimming, we have done archery, we have done shooting, and we have also played some of the competitions of all these sports. But when we started skating, something just clicked, and first it started out as a hobby, but later on it started becoming addictive. And we knew that it's not just a hobby anymore when we started looking forward to our practice sessions even on Sundays.
Oh, lovely.
So that's how we started skating.
Yeah.
And she started skating by...
You have to tell us too.
Yeah.
You can't let your older sister do all the talking. Go ahead, yeah.
As like a small child, I have always followed her footsteps, and I saw her skating ever since before even I started walking. So looking at her, I was so curious to find out how it feels to skate, and that's how I started skating.
That's so cool. But I want you to tell our audiences your world rankings, because these are not just ordinary skater sisters. You both stand at incredible places globally. Let's just explain. There's a 19 years is the cutoff, I believe.
Yes,
so
yes.
it's over 19 and under 19. Now, where do both of you stand on that?
So I'm 20, so I'm playing in the senior age group.
And where are you on the world rankings?
My world ranking currently is number 4, but
Whoa!
my best world ranking till now is number 3.
Wow.
Lovely. Top 3 in the world.
Yeah.
My God, that's something.
And what about
And
you?
I'm 16, so I play in junior women. My best world ranking is 15.
Wow. So you both, this is really, really incredible, because we have under 20, the top 20 basically, ke do log right here with us in the studio. Should we?
Yeah, we have to. We have you in your blades on, so we have to see. Can we start by something, say, simple for you guys? Something that is easy, like a warm up, and see whatever our studios can accommodate. You want to go for it?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Whoa, what is that called? It's called crazy. How fun. Do you want to go back in that move again so we can sort of catch a glimpse of that one more time? You make it seem so simple.
This is so cool.
I'm sort of getting a spin in my head just looking at you guys. So how many hours in a day do you guys practice, for example?
And when you're doing a sync routine like that, what's actually happening? So are you watching, because we saw right now you were behind her in this
Yes.
case.
Yeah.
So just tell us, maybe walk us through it. Are you watching each move of hers and syncing yours to that? Do you have to make sure your pace slowly so she gets it? How does that
Yes,
work?
like a major part of this synchronized routine is called as pair slalom. So like a major part of it is synchronization, and we get points based on that. So whoever is behind has to make sure
It's
we are
usually like the one who is behind has to make sure it's
synchronized, and the one
It's
who
all
is
your work basically.
and the one who is ahead has to make sure the speed is fine.
I see. So do you guys always perform in a duo, or is it because you guys are in different leagues at the moment?
There are multiple categories in our sport. So there is only pair category where we perform together, and in classic, battle, speed, we perform individually.
Nice. Talking about performance, can I see like a tricky one maybe from you guys?
Okay.
Say something that took you hours and hours of practice to finally nail?
Yes.
Tell us the name of that spin also after. This looks like a pirouette, but I'm not.
So actually they have funny names.
Okay.
This one is called as a chicken leg spin. I don't know why. Maybe it's because
of the leg.
But why chicken leg?
And the one that I did is called 7.
Oh,
It's called
okay,
seven.
like the number.
Yeah, the number.
So I just want to tell our audiences, off the studio, we have both your parents sitting and also watching every moment. What's the story? So at home, what do you guys do to have fun? You know, are your parents like, jao practice karo? Are they like, no, these girls practice too much? What's that dynamic like?
So
our parents actually have supported our entire career.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we decide the rest days usually.
Oh wow.
And our rest days, if the competition season is really close, then rest days are not really possible. But if it's not a competition season, then once a week we have rest days.
And what do you do on the rest day?
Rest days is
Go
usually
out to watch movies.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Okay. Like a regular.
Yeah.
Like a very regular rest
Or
day.
play with our cat or something like that.
Yes.
Do you
Play
have
with your cat. That's nice.
Do you have a trainer who comes and teaches you? Are you following famous skaters out there? What does that look
Oh,
like?
of course, Pau Bosch. He's our inspiration. He is the current European champion and has been for the past 3 years. So his style and his confidence is what inspires us. And also he is the inventor of one of my favorite tricks called Corvo Spin.
Can we see it?
Yeah, I was going to say, can you do that?
It's
Very complicated. Okay, let's not risk it over there. But talking about the skater sisters, I know it's a lot to do with coordination of mind, of body, of all of that. Is there something that you have, like a special one that both of you can do together?
Yes. So this one is called butterfly. It's because of the leg
shape.
position.
Yeah.
And it's one of the important tricks that every skater should have in their performance.
I see. So I have to ask you, between the two of you, because sisters performing together can be great fun, can be also very tricky.
Yes.
Between the two of you, who's the daredevil and who's the cautious one? Who's the one who said, let's try this out? And the other one saying, listen, hang on, let's just get the basics right.
I think I'm the cautious one.
Yeah, I'm the daredevil.
You're the daredevil.
That's also such an older sibling thing, because you often are looking out for the younger sibling who's the naughty one who can get away with whatever they want. So you are. I hope you get time to be relaxed, be de-stressed. You know what I mean? Be naughty in your own sort of world.
And what happens? I'm just thinking of fun scenarios in case there has been a slip up. I'm sure there are moments when you've had a slip. How do you guys deal with it, pump each other up?
I think most fun incidents are from pair slalom. When we are doing together and we are not synchronized enough, sometimes we tend to hit each other with our hands.
Yeah.
And then we fight, but then we can correct ourselves because we know what
But
went
what does
wrong.
it tell us also now? What does a fight look like? Because I'm sure, because working with another person 24/7 is hard.
Yes.
So what does a fight look like? How do you work on your dynamics so there are less fights?
I think one of the main problem why we fight is because my left leg is more dominant. So all my tricks are on the opposite side and her right leg is more dominant.
Okay.
So it makes it even harder to sync because we are always going to be on the other leg. And I always prefer to do things from the left side.
And I prefer to do
Advantages to that though, the fact that your legs are not the same ones? Does it make it so that you're better at different moves, for example?
Yes, because because in our performance, some of the footwork is left-sided and some of the footwork is right-sided. So maybe it looks more different than others.
You guys are yin and yang then, so you complement each other, which is great. But one more then, and maybe something that you can work with each other.
Okay.
Yeah?
Totally.
Okay.
So this is like one of our warm-up.
Okay.
Where we warm up our toe so that we can start doing tricks on the toe.
So as you can see, we were doing that with different legs.
Yes, I was
Yes.
just
So
noticing. Your dominant legs are clearly different,
Yeah.
and that's how it works. So, when a lot of these roller skating things go on, I don't know if you guys have seen this movie called Ice Princess.
Yes.
There is so much. That's the only exposure I had, at least, sort of doing, and there is so much of physics involved. And there also the story was all about sports versus studies, how sort of parents see it as well at home. Is that a conversation at all?
competition season is close. Usually they clash.
Yes,
Yeah.
so most
So
of
now
the
you're
time.
used to it though.
Yes. But it
So-
becomes tough because in the morning we give the exam, come back, and then we go for trainings. Something like that.
Yeah.
So who is your trainer? This is also something I want to ask you earlier. Is there one trainer? Do you use videos on the internet? Because you told us you have a hero.
Yes.
Are you looking at videos on the internet and training yourselves?
So our trainer is Ashutosh sir, and we have a weekly plan that we can follow, and we can check videos of other skaters, see what they are doing on Instagram. Instagram actually plays a really important role here for learning new things.
That's right. That's right. And also, Skater Sisters is a great platform for that. And on that note, I have to sort of ask you guys, is there like this future vision that both of you have for each other? Is there a vision that you're manifesting that you want to roll your way into?
I look forward to improving more and getting a better world rank.
And we recently started doing pair together, and we won our first pair category medal in the
Recently.
Lucas Slalom.
Does that mean you're performing together?
Yes.
Oh, how nice.
And I think we can do more on this in this category, and we can win more medals in this category for India.
Can we push you a little further though and ask, in terms of dreams beyond coming first, maybe both of you having world #1 rankings? I don't know if that can ever simultaneously happen. So,
Should,
or this is like Venus and
Should.
Serena,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
the skater girl
totally.
version. But tell us, what is the dream? So is it, imagine both of you holding 1 and #2, would you want to open a skating institution for young girls in the country? Would you want to do something else? What would you want to do?
I think we would want to use our platform on Instagram to promote skating in India, since it's not that popular in India, but it is really popular in Europe, it's popular in China. And I think India should have a good number of, there are like skating is growing a lot in India. And
This national championship, there were about 4,000 to 5,000 participants. So
it's compared to the past 10 years, it has grown a lot.
Yeah.
So we would like to help other skaters that are young, guide them to a better.
Yeah, you're right. It's very popular abroad, and India sort of needs to up its game, and both of you are sort of helping up in that. Is there one celeb, maybe one person that you really want to skate with?
Maybe who doesn't skate already? Someone you'd want to encourage to put on the skates with you?
That's a tricky question we never thought about.
They're just happy with themselves. They don't need anybody else.
Should we ask you very quickly to do a last thing for us? Whatever it is, these are your last few moments in our studio. We just want to see something that we can leave everyone with. It's been so lovely to have you. Let's just
And tell us a little bit first about what it's going to be.
it's a sitting trick, and it's called toe foot gun.
Okay, toe foot gun.
Toe foot gun.
Gun.
No,
Yeah.
foot gun.
Oh, okay. So it requires balance.
Yes. So in our performance, it's essential to have one sitting trick and one other trick, one jumping trick, one spinning trick. So that these are like rules. So this is one of the sitting tricks, and there are many variations you can perform, and the difficulty varies depending on that.
Wow. Lovely, absolutely lovely. Thank you so much for coming in, showing us, exposing us, and making us learn a little more about roller skates. And good luck with your mission to getting that #1 rank and also inspiring so many more. Thank you so much. And a big hand to your parents who are quietly watching in the background as well. I'm sure so much of their time and effort has gone into it. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Goodbye and good luck.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So we're going to move on now.
All right then. Lots of skating to do, but rolling
Staying
on
in the world of sports.
Yes. Rolling on to something else at the moment. Bihar's young batting sensation Vaibhav Suryavanshi announced his arrival in IPL in a spectacular style, launching a 6 off the very first ball he faced.
Now, in an exclusive conversation with Cricket Next, his coach Manish Jha opened up about the 14-year-old's remarkable cricketing journey, the relentless efforts of his parents, and the qualities that set this prodigious talent apart. Take a look.
पहली बार आए थे क्रिकेट सीखने के लिए?
वो काफी अर्ली एज में इन बिटवीन 8.5 साल 9 साल के बीच मेरे पास आया था, और तब से रेगुलर वो आया करता था मेरे पास। वो पर्सनल ट्रेनिंग लेने आता था। तो शेड्यूल ऐसा होता था कि वो समस्तीपुर में, पटना से वो 120 किलोमीटर्स के आसपास है, तो वहां से हर एक अल्टरनेट डे पे आता था और ट्रेनिंग करता था। अर्ली मॉर्निंग 7:38 से लेके इवनिंग तक, और फिर वो चला जाता था। तो ये शेड्यूल वो उसने लगातार 3-4 साल, नहीं 4 साल से भी ज्यादा फॉलो किया है, और आज वो वहां पे है।
सर देखिए, प्रोसेस फॉलो करने के बाद आपने की प्रोसेस तो सर हर क्रिकेटर फॉलो करता ही है जिसको बड़े लेवल तक खेलना रहता है, लेकिन यहाँ पे मेरा सवाल ये होगा कि ऐसी क्या चीज है जो वैभव सूर्यवंशी को बाकी आपके स्टूडेंट से अलग बनाती है?
पहला आप गौर करें कि किसी भी एकेडमी में जाएंगे तो जो बच्चे होते हैं एक दिन में औसतन 40-50 बॉल खेलते हैं प्रैक्टिस में। वैभव बहुत अर्ली एज से एवरी डे, जो मेरे पास एटलीस्ट आता था, तो 400 to 500 बॉल्स खेलता था। दूसरा, जिस तरीके का उसका ओवरऑल गेम था, और लेटर स्टेज में जो नए नए टेक्निक हम लोगों ने ऐड किया उनके बैटिंग में, तो वो बहुत ही सहजता से उसको अडॉप्ट करता था। और उसके जो एग्जीक्यूशन में जो सफाई होती थी, जिस लेवल ऑफ परफेक्शन से वो उसको एग्जीक्यूट करता था, वो इस बात को दिखाता था कि वो बाकियों से अलग है। और बाकी रहा, इस प्रैक्टिस के बाद उसने जो भी उसमें सीखा, ऑल अक्रॉस द बिहार वो रेगुलर मैचेस खेलता था, और हर पायदान पे उसने परफॉर्मेंस किया है। चाहे वो लोकल टूर्नामेंट हो, बिहार क्रिकेट एसोसिएशन का डोमेस्टिक क्रिकेट टूर्नामेंट्स हो, उससे यदि हमने 50 का उम्मीद किया, तो उसने उससे बढ़ के 100 बनाया। मतलब उससे जितना एक्सपेक्टेशन था, उससे उसने मेनी फोल्ड्स अहेड आउटपुट दिया। तो ये जो फीचर्स है उसमें वो बिल्कुल ही अलग था बाकियों से। दूसरी चीज है, वो शुरू से एक नेचुरल इंस्टिंक्ट का प्लेयर है, अटैकिंग प्लेयर है। उसका गेम में जो अप्रोच है, जो इंटेंट है, बाकियों से बहुत अलग है। वो वैसा प्लेयर नहीं है जो दब के खेले, आई मीन, और या बॉलर्स को अपने ऊपर हावी होने दे। वो अर्ली स्टेज से ही बॉलर पे डोमिनेट करना पसंद करता था, स्ट्रोक्स खेलना पसंद करता था, और किसी दबाव में नहीं रहता था। वो चाहे सीनियर कोई खेल रहा हो उसके अगेंस्ट, या उसके सेम एज वाले बच्चे खेल रहे हो, वो अपना नेचुरल गेम कभी चेंज नहीं करता था। तो ये सब यूनिक फीचर है। जनरली क्या है कि आप बच्चे अपने से बड़े और ज्यादा टफ मैचेस में उतरते हैं तो थोड़ा नर्वस होते हैं, थोड़ा उन पर दबाव होता है। पर वैभव में ये यूनिक फीचर है कि वो दबाव नहीं लेता, और ये नहीं कि वो सीनियर है तो हमको थोड़ा कॉशियस हो खेलना, ये नहीं। वो जो नेचुरल गेम है वो मेंटेन करता है, और वो आपने आईपीएल तक देखा होगा। डोमेस्टिक में तो हम लोग देखते आए थे, लोकल लेवल पे बिहार क्रिकेट डोमेस्टिक पे, या रणजी ट्रॉफी हो गया, जूनियर स्टेट के मैचेस हो गए। बट अब आप आईपीएल में भी देख रहे हैं, वो उसी इंटेंसिटी से, उसी आक्रामकता से मैच को अप्रोच कर रहा है, जो बाकियों से अलग करता है उसको।
Mahi sir.
You see Home Minister Amit Shah on your screens, and he's interacting with some of those grieving families, and you can make out the sadness, the disappointment on some of these faces that you see on your screens of the people who the Home Minister is interacting with. So in all likelihood, these are family members of the victims of the Pahalgam terror attack, and you see some of those women, they're crying their heart out, pouring their heart out to Home Minister Amit Shah, really narrating their ordeal. Because let's not forget, while the men were singled out, they were singled out on basis of their faith, their religious practices. The women and the children stood there right next to them in horror and saw the horror unfold right in front of their eyes. And they're perhaps narrating that ordeal to the Home Minister as we keep up with these visuals coming in from Srinagar. Just a short while ago, we'd put out visuals of the Home Minister exiting the police control room. Before that, we had visuals of him laying the wreath on the victims in Srinagar itself. Now, the mortal remains, remember, will be flown to their hometowns where the last rites will take place. But this is Home Minister Amit Shah in person, interacting with some of those grieving family members, of those who have lost their loved one to this brutal terror attack in Pahalgam. Families that were on vacation, that were holidaying, who have lost their loved ones, most of them losing out on their father, their husbands, speaking of their stories of horror that they'd witnessed in Pahalgam last afternoon. 2:30 p.m. viewers is when the terror attack was reportedly to have happened. 2:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. This lasted for about 20-25 minutes is what our reporters on the ground have been telling us, and now there are other details emerging slowly on the possible involvement of more terrorists, that there were those who were
Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. Next, we take you to our section on finance.
All right, this is a special segment on the finance market powered by Money Control Pro, Money Control's premium destination for investing and business insights. Let's start with how markets are faring this Thursday morning. GIFT Nifty trends indicate a muted opening for the Indian equity indices. Asian markets were mixed today as uncertainty over US-China tariff war sort of lingered. US stocks advanced on hopes that US and China would resolve their tariff dispute. Crude oil prices meanwhile remained in a tight range as traders await the OPEC plus output indications.
All right, let's take a look now at a sector in particular. Value retailers are surviving and thriving despite the onslaught of e-commerce. Their key markets in smaller cities and towns are doing well on the growth front. The share of private label brands in their sales mix makes them affordable to consumers while remaining profitable. The fiscal boost in the budget, lower rates and good monsoon should brighten the outlook. You can log into Money Control Pro to find out more about India's retail sector and various other actionable insights on the markets. It's the premier destination for all investing views and financial insights that you'll ever need, brought to you by Money Control.
All right, with that, we are drawing this Thursday episode to a close. We did quite a bit, talk about stress in the mind, maybe relieve some with skating during the day as well. But what fun with those sisters.
Yes, what fun. We hope you love them as much as we did. We also want you to get more clued into the world skating and the Indian skating scene, just like we will after this. But for now, that's all that we have on the show. Leave your feedback as usual and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
मैंने मेरे सीईओ को बुला
You see Home Minister Amit Shah on your screens and he's interacting with some of those grieving families and you can make out the sadness, the disappointment on some of these faces that you see on your screens of the people who the Home Minister is interacting with. So in all likelihood these are family members of the victims of the Pahalgam terror attack, and you see some of those women, they're crying their heart out, pouring their heart out to Home Minister Amit Shah, really narrating their ordeal, because let's not forget, while the men were singled out, they were singled out on basis of their faith, their religious practices. The women and the children stood there right next to them in horror and saw the horror unfold right in front of their eyes. And they're perhaps narrating that ordeal to the Home Minister as we keep up with these visuals coming in from Srinagar. Just a short while ago, we put out visuals of the Home Minister exiting the police control room. Before that, we had visuals of him laying the wreath on the victims in Srinagar itself. Now, the mortal remains, remember, will be flown to their hometowns where the last rites will take place. But this is Home Minister Amit Shah in person interacting with some of those grieving family members of those who have lost their loved one to this brutal terror attack in Pahalgam. Families that were on vacation, that were holidaying, who have lost their loved ones, most of them losing out on their father, their husbands, speaking of their stories of horror that they'd witnessed in Pahalgam last afternoon. 2:30 p.m. viewers is when the terror attack was reportedly to have happened. 2:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. This lasted for about 20-25 minutes is what our reporters on the ground have been telling us, and now there are other details emerging slowly on the possible involvement of more terrorists, that there were those who were stationed at a distance with helmet mounted cameras who wanted to shoot the entire
Hello and good morning. Thank you for tuning in to CNN News 18. I'm Shen Elizabeth Matthew. Let's begin this bulletin with the top news this hour, which is the Pahalgam terror attack. Now, India has taken decisive action following the Pahalgam terror attack that killed 26 people, including tourists and defense personnel. Now, in response, the government has suspended the Indus Waters Treaty with Pakistan and closed the Atari border. Now, a high-level CCS meeting chaired by the Prime Minister strongly condemned the attack, and Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri announced further steps, including the expulsion of Pakistani diplomats, withdrawal of Indian military advisors from Islamabad, and a 48-hour deadline for all the Pakistani nationals with SAARC visas to leave India. An all-party meeting has been called, expected to be chaired by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, with Home Minister Amit Shah and External Affairs Minister Dr. S.J. Shankar in attendance. Now, Dr. S.J. Shankar will brief leaders on India's strategy to isolate Pakistan, and top government sources describe this move as calibrated and not a hasty one, and the first of several diplomatic and strategic steps to come.
1. The Indus Waters Treaty of 1960 will be held in abeyance with immediate effect until Pakistan credibly and irrevocably abjures its support for cross-border terrorism. 2. The integrated checkpost Atari will be closed with immediate effect. Those who have crossed over with valid endorsements may return through that route before 1 May 2025. 3. Pakistani nationals will not be permitted to travel to India under the SAARC visa exemption scheme visas. Any SVAS visas issued in the past to Pakistani nationals are deemed cancelled. Any Pakistani national currently in India under SVAS visa has 48 hours to leave India. 4. The Defence, Military, Naval and Air Advisors in the Pakistani High Commission in New Delhi are declared persona non grata. They have a week to leave India. India will be withdrawing its own Defence, Navy and Air Advisors from the Indian High Commission in Islamabad. These posts in the respective High Commissions are deemed annulled.
घटना के मद्देनजर भारत सरकार वो हर कदम उठाएगी जो जरूरी और उपयुक्त होगा, और हम सिर्फ उन लोगों तक नहीं पहुंचेंगे जिन्होंने इस घटना को अंजाम दिया है, हम उन तक भी पहुंचेंगे जिन्होंने पर्दे के पीछे बैठकर हिंदुस्तान की सरजमी पर ऐसी नापाक हरकतों की साजिशें रची हैं। ऐसी हरकतों का जिम्मेदार और इसके जिम्मेदार लोगों को आने वाले कुछ ही समय में जोरदार तरीके से नजर आएगा। मैं देशवासियों को आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं।
All right, so after the last evening CCS meeting, which in fact went on for about 2.5 hours, which